Hey, welcome back to Evil's Comics. I'm Evil Mike, and I got a review for you today. We're going to be talking about from DC Comics, Superman Lost, issue number 3. It is written by Christopher Priest, art by Cario Pagulayan, inks by Jason Paz, colors by Jeromy Cox, and then we got letters by Willie Schubert. Um, Basically, in a nutshell, Superman went away for 20 years, which for us was like 5 minutes, came back, and he is suffering from PTSD. And this whole comic book, we're learning about what fucked him up. We do get this little it's like one page with Lois Lane, and we kind of get a little information here about the president's something that is going on in the government, but it's like a scandal. But basically Lois is trying to ride. She really can't. She freaks out. She goes to the closet and she finds his solar suit, which we've seen, and we get this over here. It's like this broken communicator, which we find a little more about. And then the book jumps back to where Clark just left that planet, which he said was kind of like Kansas kind of thing, and every time they reference it, they just call it Kansas. We find out that little device is controlling this whole solar suit with that backpack. It's how he's living in space or traveling in space. But basically, he has this whole thing, and it's called Marquise. It does talk to him, like presently it's trying to wake him up. Once it does wake him up, it's basically just asking for the destination that they're supposed to be traveled. There's a lot of background information, and basically at this point, Clark is basically trying to figure out where Earth is, like miles distance, and we're talking about billions of trillions of light years. And at this point, he's already traveled like months in space. While he's traveling, he comes across some familiar faces. He runs into Lobo's space dolphins. And he does know that the space dolphins are able to travel at near like some kind of subplot light speed, like faster than any kind of craft can go. And he does know that they have a way to get to Earth kind of thing. So he figures if he travels with them, maybe they will hitch a ride to Earth themselves. Marquis, the robot, kind of doubts this, but Superman states that they're empathetic, so maybe they'll just kind of like figure that out from his thoughts. They do end up going in a direction, and once they get there, it's not what Clark was ready for, but he does get recharged while he's here because it does have a sun. But you see all this like red stuff. Instantly when they get there, he finds that a bunch of the dolphin babies are trapped in this like kind of like energy storm. Basically, he realizes that the dolphins weren't taking him somewhere, that they were bringing him to help. They needed his help, and that's why they went and found him. As he's here, he kind of noticed, Clark instantly notices that this isn't just a regular storm, and realizes that like an intelligence behind it. He actually speaks out to the intelligent, and sure enough, it is revealed that there is a red dwarf planet below. Clark does go down below to meet the species that's there, and is greeted by what looks like a statue of himself, but it is not a statue, more like livable, movable, like sand. At first, this thing starts attacking attacking Superman. Superman kind of like basically states that he doesn't want to fight this thing. We do find out that this is this planet's species, and it's like basically the sand are the creatures. There's trillions of them that are making up that giant statue. They're all working together. It's how they're like moving in unison. Clark asks for them to read his mind because that's what they're doing, but they deem him as an aggressive species. But he kind of states that since they're in his mind, they should be able to sense that he's more than that, and they do. They turn into like Wonder Woman, or I think what looks like Wonder Woman. It could be Lois. But basically they state that that they do find good and love and that kind of stuff in him. We basically find out that by Superman getting to talk to these aliens, that he's kind of messed up on one sense, because now that he find out the aliens are the sand stuff, we find out why the dolphins were there, and the dolphins were basically like eating they're basically getting in there and eating the sand. I guess it's like a delicacy or something, and that's what the storm was preventing from happening was keeping these dolphins out. Superman eventually like talks to these creatures and basically like, hey, if you're this intelligent, you can do this. Like, can't you come up with like an energy field that like deters the dolphins instead of like trapping them and killing them? Eventually, the aliens do agree. The dolphin babies get let go, and before he knows it, all the dolphins take off. While he was doing this, his equipment had been left behind because he was afraid the planet might mess it up. When the dolphins take off, they kind of take his equipment with him. So now, at this point, Superman is stranded in space. We got Marquis sitting here like, hey, what's your next destination? What's your next destination? And sure enough, Superman grabs that thing off his chest and just smashes it. And that's kind of where we're left off. Him lost in space, not knowing where he is because he took a whole bunch of portals with the dolphins, and now he doesn't even have his little like talkity friend. But that is this issue. Issue 4 is already out. The review will be following pretty soon. I just need to read it. But man, if this isn't a great book, I mean, we just got a cameo from the Space Dolphins. I don't know. You let me know down below what you're thinking about this book. That's all I got for you guys. All right. Bah.